So essentially what we're going to try to do here is do a deployment of this environment that I've been working on my project. So some of the stuff has already been run prior. So if like some of the things will be already pre-configured, such as done a deprovision, then doing a reprovisioning. You know, it should be pretty straightforward for the most part. So we just start with I look for the provision. So I did the deprovision. Like it just wasn't really. Let's see. So I'm looking for equal prod, right? So we just change it actually to yeah. So yeah, so this will automatically provision environment for us. You know, these playbooks are located in the Git repository associated with this particular project for the most part. So if we just run that, hopefully it goes well with my errors, as these errors, the one or two errors that are unforeseen, such as the one where one of the playbooks goes to GitHub. We just run that and I'll just explain the provision. One of the playbooks goes to GitHub and then it tries to check the latest version. So you need to install the latest version or maybe do a notification to do the latest version update, which also it doesn't really need to do, but the option to disable to unconfigure that isn't actually available. So ultimately, the thing that you have to do in open source essentially is like updating to make it more flexible to your requirements. So these something that green they're very happy, they're very good. So some of these installation of these things here already been installed. Yeah, so essentially, yeah, okay, cool. That didn't error, but sometimes you have like drop connections or whatever. So you might find that it's based on that, but I need to add the option to actually make the configurable variable, whether or not to do that check on. So that's that. And then ultimately, it's just performing the provisioning process at the moment. Actually, it's progressing relatively well so far. I spent some time with Facebook, a considerable amount of time, which then limits the amount of time that I have to actually present and demonstrate work. However, I've definitely put in a lot of effort in regard to some of those aspects. So for example, here at the moment, it's creating the required images. I do see some problems with this though at times. So what it's going to do, it's going to do this. It's going to provision these instances as desired. But then what happens is that it runs into a problem. You'll see it has to wait for the connection to occur. And for some strange reason, some of the nodes aren't coming up with SSH. There's nothing inherently security. They're very conscious about security what's here. You see, so here, okay, that's logical. That's all logical. All right. So we're going to do deprovision prod. Yeah, so now I'm going to go back, delete everything that's created prior, because obviously there's an error in the configuration somewhere, which you're going to try to resolve in a moment. You just give it a minute to do that. So this is one of the Emacs NW two files. What is the vars VMs. So what we want to do is just take one or two variables there. I want to change this to present rather than absent. And we want to change want to change net was network there. I want to change it to present. This will again be something that I can provide on the, but because I have, for example, this is not very well used, so I have default action here, and in the alternative, I have the VMs that have default state, which makes it a bit difficult to set the state of the system there. So with that, provision, identity provision now runs static there, and the shape provision, everything is intended. You see, like the tasks aren't even named correctly. But I can adjust this after the process that I've had the process to run these experimentations, deploy environment, done implementations, put the data in a formatted fashion. After that point, I then will be able to at a later date, given the limited scope of time, like time is drastically running out, and so everything's ultimately problematic in one sense or another. But again, we still have relative amount of time. So tomorrow we're looking at Sunday. I can. There's very options available related to that process. But because I don't have like VPN access, no, I have to be on site to access this. And so the constraints that we were working at are drastically dire at this particular moment in time. But you better know that obviously, of course, there's a relatively simple approach to all this. So some of the rules are running there. Yeah. So some of the rules running. Provisioning. So we're going to check and answer that we get a certain trust to verify that some of these things are related to a better situation where it's funny that these are actually okay though. Okay, backup storage, that's fine. Okay, we'll create a VM, we'll create a VM with different storage stuff. There's a bunch of things that happen there. I think we'll block Ansible as well. So let's configure the VMs. Now we ensure that all the different VMs are started. And the big full connections, yeah, some of them are just coming up weird because it's maybe the same image, right? The same base image. But what's happening is that the SSH is coming up disabled, and that makes no sense. I've been actually seeing with a firewall because yesterday I thought, yeah, I left it running last night, and then obviously it's stating that the firewall was blocking access from the KVM network to the monitoring system port, right? So you see here we've got okay, you've got Tokyo, Yokohama, Makita. Okay, that's good. That came up last time. It didn't come up. Now we just need Chiba. Oh, cool. That's great. Wait, we have that. We don't have that. Oh, that's vital, man. Nah, that's not right. That's not right. And I know exactly what just happened like that. So everything provision boom skips everything else. But now we are going to install the Kubernetes clusters. So what happened is it provisioned because these are the wait for nodes, right? Because if you go to the Emacs inventory, where is it at? It's at inventory project.ini. we just look at that for a moment. You see that these ones you commented out, right? Chiba and Tateyama, they're not actually involved in this, and that's because they were having issues the other day. So what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to see if I can actually SSH to these nodes. The 135 to 34, yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna try to see, did I save this? Yeah, you know, I'll save this. I'll try to see if I can SSH to 192.168.134. 134 and actually it's 134, 135. Let me check that. Okay, 135. Okay, so I'm gonna read SSH 192.168.135.34, right? We get a session. See, that's the issue with that, right? I don't really know what's going on with this. If I SSH C160, and then do sudo over sh restore, right? They're all running, and if I do sudo void sh console, can I do this by number? I doubt I can do this by number. So if I just say 17, of course I do by number, right? So I can auth, right? But let's see, the very system is SSH. Why is that? This makes no logical sense to me. Should be configured to use party journal xc unit sshd entries ssh entries let's see what the journal say here. Yeah, but it ain't gonna should I configure these manually though? I don't know, right, man. Let me see if I do sudo grep for error. Okay, they said these errors. I don't really know what's happening with these nodes. But given that I've got 4 nodes anyway, I think that's fine. So what I do is I might just scrap these from the config. So what I do is I'll actually, what we'll do right here, right now, I'll take a calculator. Let's see, right? So if I say, because if I've got 4 nodes, right, I've got 4 nodes, I've got product anyway here, and I've got Tokyo, Yokohama, Saitama, and Machida. If I go to calculator, let's see, right? So if I give them all, let's say, if I give them all 6 times 4, okay, times 4 equal 96. So I'll give each one of these, I'll give each one of them 6 gig of RAM. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the templates. No templates. I'm gonna go to the bars. I'm gonna go to prod PMs. I'll give each of them 6 gig of RAM. 6 gig. Yeah, this can be improved by a large margin. 6 gig. 6 gig, 6 gig, 6 gig, 6 gig, 6 gig, 6 gig, and 6 gig. In terms of CPU, I think we should be fine on that. And I think, okay, yes, keyboard and okay, I'll give this one here 6 gig as well. There's a better way to do this, most likely, but I just don't have that way at the moment. I'm just 6 gig, 6 gig, 6 gig, 6 gig. And then I'm just going to give these here, I'm going to make these nodes absent. 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 Oh, that's not good. All right, you know what? Right, what I just realized, irrespective, I'm gonna have to just do absent either way because absent, because I'm gonna need to recreate this other node. So network, I just go there. Just okay, for network, I can just do. What's it because of the net? I don't think it's because of the network, you know. Okay, so that's it. So I remove these two here. That's fine. I'll keep these networks. All right, cool. And then for the VMs, because I need to recreate all of them. For the VMs, I said that CPU wise, I'm thinking right. So CPU wise, if I say I have, let's say I have, let's have 24 nodes, yeah. Overall, 24 nodes, then I times that by, oh yeah, now, cool. You know, how many virtual CPUs do I actually have? I'm trying to ascertain here. So I'll log into the instance and then I'll find out because we might be able to actually increase the number of CPUs that we have for each node, right? So right, let's deprovision, right? So go on the deprovision process. Actually, while that's deprovision, I could authenticate the system, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. So yeah, so good. All right. So yeah, we're gonna shut down all the VMs. The networks only the ones that are specified are gonna get deprovisioned. That gives us, four nodes that run in parallel. And so for the data processing, ideally, I would just need to change either the date or something like that. Yeah, because the process is that if I have it run for, I'm hoping to leave it running overnight, and then maybe I might have it for tomorrow as well, running all day tomorrow. Maybe add some experimentation for that day as well. If I rewrite some, I'll leave it running overnight. I'll come in the morning or afternoon, depending on what time I get to sleep. I'll come and check the results of the experimentation. By that time, I should have cleaned up my notebook and the operational practices. It'll be easier to process the data, right? And so, boom, and then if I come in, I see that the data collection process has been adequate enough. I can then result to taking that extra data for later on if I want to add it on, after I've cleaned up the report, etc. And then I can also add further experimentation. Right, so these are the provisions. And now we go back to the Max. See, advanced, and then VMs. No, yeah, VMs. Yeah, all the networks are gone. So now we just go to the VM, raw prod VMs, and then I just yeah, all these. Oh shit, this is shit ton of them. Wait. Okay. So I'm gonna absent these. Okay, cool. Now, okay, let's see. What can we, okay, so we'll go log into the node. We should be able to do that without much issue. So, okay, so I'm at SSH, right? Is it actually fine? And I just do cap SE pop, right? What is that going to, what's that going to give me? That's going to give me still 27. The actual node, I'll go this from this team here that we have at Viper, so there's 27 cores, right? With 2 cores each core is actually dedicated. So I think that should be fine. I should keep it at how many threads though? Okay, I need to know how. Okay, now actually it's already doing hyper-threading. So we have 14 cores. So that's either with 28 cores, right? And if I give on average 2 cores per system, per VM, and that's visible if we go to the templates file. So if I go templates and just do VM instance xml.j2, yeah, as you can see, with Emacs you can make it quicker to load similar to Vim because, okay, so here you can see I have static cores too. So that means that when a machine is recreated, it's placed on a core and it remains on that core, ideally, as far as I understand. And I don't know if I can really be sure to do that at this point in time. So I'm not gonna bother doing that. So I'll leave it at that. We say 2 cores there. So that means that ultimately so there's 2 we have we have 4 times 4 machines, right? Yeah, there's a 4 clusters of 4 machines. No, I'm not able to do. So there's 4 clusters of 4 machines. Okay, yeah, 4 clusters of 4 machines. Yeah, irrespective, that's actually turned out to be quite a lot more CPU requirement. But it should be sufficient enough given the hyper-threading scenario that we have here. So that should be okay. Even though it's the requirement seems to be 32 core requirement. something right there. Yeah, I'm nothing right actually. Yeah, and then times 4 is 2.32. But that should be fine. The hyperthreading should be good enough. We can reduce that, but I think that having the two cores irrespective, it can be similar to having one core, right? But if it needs more, it has access to that if it needs it. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and do the reprovisioning. Double check the VARs, VMs. Cool. Is it set to present default action? Yes, it's set to action. So set that to present. And then the network wise, that's set to absent call, and then we do the playbook and prod. Now we're going to run the site one. Cool. Right. So it should now reprovision 4 nodes, 6 gig RAM each. And yeah, 6 gig of RAM, 6 gigabytes of RAM each with 2 cores. Um, SSH connection should be functional. We'll look into why the KVM above a particular threshold isn't working anymore. Isn't essentially functional to the degree that we require it to be. And then, yeah, so let's see. So this can just provision real quickly. We're at 9:20. 9:20. We've got about a max 2 hours left in this particular environment before we have to reboot. So I have to have my cron jobs configured to run by that period of time. I need to stress test these servers. Let's see. So if I look here, you find that I just finished doing a stress test, of which 300. Okay, so here I'm actually trying to understand as to what the best base rate is. So when we load test the service, we want a base rate to say that, this is what usual traffic is. But ultimately, I feel that the only reason why this breaks down, it's such a high failure rate here. In terms of that's only 200 virtual users, and it's saying economic service like that 98% and 1% success. Nah, that's not right. So I think I need to. I'm gonna assume that it's because of the resources that we have in these particular nodes. So if we look, they're not very. It's not very good. They're running on my local machine, and so it's one virtual machine with 2 virtual machines inside it. That are functioning the same way as the ones that we provision in this other environment. So let's see the okay, cool. So this is provisioning. Yeah, we can look to actually see as to what's actually going on with these. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What happened there? It's hit like this. See, so even though it was present, I still, in my laziness, it said absent there. What was that favorite over there? Let's see. Okay, that's pretty cool. So basically, because just telling them to absent isn't sufficient. They have to be commented out essentially. And basically, the way the playbooks are set up at the moment, they won't continue unless we see. Okay, so here we just comment region. Save that. Yeah. Yeah, and with Emacs, yeah, you can run it in daemon mode, so it's pre-started, and then you can just open it really quickly, similar to what similar to what to how quickly you can generate open daemon mode instances. So it's little errors that you run into like that, when you're working through these things, and it's very horrible prior to prod. Like if like prod, yeah, prod is a different scenario, guys, right? By the time things go in there, they have to be pristine. But the thing that makes it difficult for system administrators and infrastructure engineers is that ultimately we have to cater to pressure, right? So time pressures and deadlines that I'm in right now, which I shouldn't be in. Like if I dedicated, I would have really had fun, right? But sometimes we think about companies and jobs and this and the other, which then impacts the amount of fun and joy that we can have. But from the ground up, if we take enough time, there's adequate investment, and there's a desire for and care for the product. That's why technology companies are so fun, because the people that work there who build that up, right? Because the business people care about the tech side. So you get to build it up from the ground up to be up to your desired standard that you can tell, because they value it to a degree, right? Yeah, so that's essentially it. So when you go to production, it's generally cleaner, and you can implement particular practices that benefit that production aspect of it. So here we go, we're just going to create those VMs again, and you sort of cater to things a bit more. You uh like, fucking networks as well, man. I keep calling out the network, but I don't think that should be a requirement. You see, so now ensure defined VMs are started. Cool, boom. The wait for connection is working as intended. Bro, I don't. Okay, yeah. So you level 4. Looks like level 4. Okay, level 4. All right, cool. Level 4. Um, cool. And then now we're gonna go on provision those as intended. Just basically some checks for partitions. Make the file system a little bit big on the VMs. Yeah, still partition. It's weird when you see greens when they shouldn't be greens, man. I think that greens should be oranges, but let's not question that. So yeah, that does that, and then it skips everything. And then at this point, it's the point where now I can then go on to provision a Kubernetes cluster. So to provision the Kubernetes clusters, we just keep spray, and then we go to the keep spray directory. Keep spray directory, and then we look for right. So this is actually the first. Well, it's not the first time. So this one's the prod one. The default config is the. It's never going to be prod, is it? Shit. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see. So if I do I'm just gonna at this point in time I'm just gonna deploy one cluster because I wanna essentially see what's this one here. So we're gonna do we're just gonna go dev as a good example there. just gonna take cube node, and then we're gonna go to Tokyo. So we just did the deployment for Tokyo. So yeah, so we're jumping on Tokyo. See how Vim is so quick. So we're just gonna do Tokyo here. Okay, so Tokyo actually no, it doesn't have the configuration that we require. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna just no, I'm gonna so I'm gonna take this Tokyo, and then I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna paste this. I need this to be okay. So somewhere around here. So, okay, control plane nodes are actually just this one control plane node and then the cube node. I'm not mistaken. Cube node. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that should be enough. Here's 127. Okay, and then we're gonna provision. So we're gonna run the playbook again. Right, so then now we're just gonna point this to the correct inventory file, which should be tokyo.ini. And we're gonna man, I don't know, cause yeah, that should be it. That should be it. Tokyo.ini has control plane specified to be yeah, that should work for the most part. So we'll run that. Yeah, so this one takes a little while, definitely a lot longer. Yeah, it takes a lot longer. I'm just hoping that that Tokyo is configured as intended. I'm concerned about the HTTP breaking test, but I have the adequate tools to sort of evaluate that. What this cluster creates. It takes about, I think, 20 minutes. So, I'm going to pause and then I'm going to get back to work with other stuff and then we can get back to the cluster provisioning outcome because it does take a minute. So we just pause for now and then get back up. What happened there? Wait, so it had the wrong statistical, it had the wrong IP addresses. It is okay. Now I need to figure out why that was. Oh fuck, man! I hate this when this happens. Wait, nah, but how did it? I don't know where it got those IP addresses from. This is not. This is very wrong. Let's see. So yeah, because they're not. It's looking at 3 4 3 4 3 3 4 and 3 5, right? And if I look at the Tokyo in okay, see, I can't, this thing is can't remember. I'll just go to I'll go to sample inventory sample inventory. Okay, so cube node. So okay, So why is it that this node variable had such a negative impact on the cluster, right? Let's try again. At least that was it hadn't actually run anything about here. It was just doing pre-install. So we can see here that it's a Kubernetes pre-install step. Stop if access is necessary. Okay, that was 52 seconds. That was only running for 52 seconds. That's it. That's crazy. But yeah. Well, so now we just rerun it. I don't know why that node's variable had such an impact in that manner. So we just do the 52 seconds so you can see that, like, that's like debugging process. That's how you're gonna put sort of debugging process and stuff. Let's see. What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? Okay, yeah, so now I start to pre-install and to reconfigure some of the stuff. Okay, so we're 9:30. Yeah, should be alright. Should be alright. Yesterday I went to one workshop. It was decent. Today is a Friday, Saturday. I might try to see if I can scoop up McDonald's real quick. I ain't got time to no cooking or nothing. Alright. Yes, as you can see, we pause that. Yeah, it's pause. It's gonna pause that section. I think that is present time. Yeah, you just never. See if we can search this. No, it's not actually. I'm not press anything to search. I don't want to press search. I'm not going to search anything. But you can see that this obviously, of course, went past that particular section with required. Now we're taking the 1 minute section. Yeah, but I would search this to shift. Okay, yeah, access this for IP. Yeah, you can see here. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it actually happened quite early on as well. Stop if access IP is not pingable. But I think that's because that it's already done the downloads of all the things that it needed beforehand. So all it did was like update one or two things, or probably didn't have to update any few things. It just had to um, just run its assertions. Just as long as the files are and the binaries are already in the system, then that's all good. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, let's hope it's not stuck. Okay, download continue file. Let's see finish this video because I pressed right control shift something. Didn't take that long. This is University Campus Network. It should be quick. But EDU, actually EDU 1 is what happened? I can't. I must have done something, man. I can't even press enter. Usually I can press enter and then say, it's frozen, but All right. Because some patients have to download container now. This is in the university campus network. This is the data center. So we must have bought something. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna give it like a couple minutes rather than have you wait on that. We'll update you how long it took as well. So this is download container D. This is extract container D. The fact that I can't control it, I can't press enter. Let me see this. I've got this in the git repos. I'm going to cancel this and then start again because I'm just thinking. Yeah, that was definitely stuck somewhere on my viewpoint. Because look, normally, like if I do this, I can do the thing, and I can do this. Right? If I can't see that, then that's problematic. It must have been when I was trying to do this listing. So let's see, I just let it run to get quickly to that container D section. So how long is this been going on anyway? Thinking myself, like, I'm really going too long now, 40 minutes in this panic on. Alright. So the 1 minute 30 wasn't. Here we go. See how quickly that was? Download extra content extra compact now. See, that was it. I don't know why it affected it, but yeah, that's it. So yeah, so now I'm gonna stop this. Might resume it in a bit. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm gonna let this cluster install and I'm gonna do some little tests on it. And then I'm gonna do the long running. Leave some contacts running. Then I'm gonna do the long running job and then do some contacts running. Then hopefully come back in the AM. And everything should be okay. Might need the contacts running. Come back in the AM and then collect more data. And then set the contacts in the AM, but I don't want to do that. I think it would be better to just set the contacts run and then yeah. Then you see how that impacts anything. It should be alright as long as the normal user traffic is able to work effectively. Then the contact should be perfectly fine. Then I think that should be that should put us in a good position to finalize everything.